Okay, so we've got an expression here, 3x squared over 5 times 2y squared in brackets minus 2x squared times in brackets 4y squared over x squared minus 5x. And we need to expand the brackets and simplify. That's our goal. So first of all, we need to expand the brackets. So what we have to do is multiply this by everything in this bracket and multiply this by everything in this bracket. And here, for extra complications, we've got a minus sign here, so we need to be careful when we're dealing with this one. Okay, now let's deal with this one first. So 3x squared times 2y squared. We can write that as 2y squared over 1, so they're both fractions. Then that could be a little bit easier to read. So distributing this with this term here, we need to multiply out our numerators and our denominators. So 3 2s are 6. X squared times y squared is just x squared y squared. Nothing else we can do other than write that. And then 5 times 1, that gives us 5. Okay, now minus sign here, this is effectively a plus 4y squared over x squared. So minus multiplied by a plus will be a minus. So minus, and then multiply that with this term here. Now this 2x squared, I could also write that as 2x squared over 1. So now multiply that out with this, 2x squared times 4y squared, 2 4s are 8. And then x squared times y squared is, as this one was, x squared y squared. And then our denominator, 1 times x squared is just x squared. So that takes care of that. Now we need to multiply this with this. So this is as a fraction, so I write this as a fraction as well, so everything's in fraction form. But I've got minus times minus. When you multiply a minus with another minus, you always get positive. And then 2x squared multiplied by 5x, well 5 2s are 10. X squared times x is x cubed. And then back into my fraction, 1 times 1 is just 1. Okay, now is there anything I can cancel out here in these three terms here? So I've got this one here, 6 and 5, no, and there's no x's and y's, so that can't change. 8's got no coefficient here other than possibly a 1. You can write that as 1x squared if you liked. But I've got x squared and x squared. Well, x squared divided by x squared, that just equals 1 over 1. They will just cancel out and become 1s. So therefore I can cancel out my x squareds and put 1s in their place. And here, nothing I can do here, 10x cubed over 1. So now I'm almost ready to write out my final answer. So this one here is 6x squared y squared over 5. This one here is minus 8 times 1 times y squared. So that's minus 8y squared. And then that's over 1, which I'm just going to leave as that. And here I've got 10x cubed over 1. So I'm just going to write that as 10x cubed. And that I'm going to declare as my final answer.